Hello, and welcome back to CG Rated Books. We are going to check in today and do our weekly check in. And I am formatting all of these weekly videos to cover a lot of information. So they're going to start being a little bit longer. I've just started doing these last week, but we are going to put some more information and some more topics in there. We're going to have a weekly topic about something to talk about. And I think these are going to be great. They're going to be more than just me coming in here saying I'm still alive. I'm going to captivate you, hold you up, let you know what we just recently accomplished, let you know what we got planned for the rest of the week, and perhaps talk a little bit about something about being bookish, being book nerds, being book lovers, being story lovers, and yeah, more, and what all it, to be alive and to love books. Uh, it's more than just reading, isn't it? It's more than just reading. So we're going to start off with things that we've covered for last week, and of course, as usual, I've got my tablet set up over here to the left, to my right, and so I will be looking up there. My calendar is on the wall in front of me. I'll be looking up at that. So if I'm looking away, it's not because you guys are ugly. It's because I just have other things here and I can't see you. Because I will honestly admit that you are some very beautiful people I've come across, and I know that there are some dark corners in the Booktube community, bookish community. Period. Right? Can't please everybody. You're not going to get along with everybody, and fortunately, I haven't had the issue of dealing with somebody that with unsimilar hopes for the community. So I'm glad for that. Anyway, last week was pretty busy. We got a lot done. 3 videos as far as 3 book reviews were done. We did 2 graphic novels, and then of course we did the I think the last one was not Midnight Champagne. What was the last review that we did? We got three of them done, and my personal life was actually pretty busy too. We already know that I work mostly over the weekends, Wednesday, then Friday through Sunday, and then it's overnight. So I usually sleep during the day. So being able to get out and produce videos at a timely manner makes it a little bit more difficult. Oh wow, excuse me. Yes, we love our drink, don't we? So even still, I had my annual recall. I had to take a class at work. Ended up having 2 VA clinic visits. They usually take half a day to get those things done, and then ended up I'm actually stepping into one of those huge milestones that you encounter in your life, right? And I'm really doing something really big, and it's going to be an ongoing thing for at least the next month or so, and so that's going to keep me pretty occupied for a while. It'll start to slow down and I'll start to settle in a little bit, but you just bear with me. I will share more later. Huge encounter that I'm undergoing, and in my personal life, and next week is going to pick up a little bit more, got a little bit more work, more personal life to do, and so that's going to affect my publications. But these will be at least once a week. So in the video list that we put out, like I said, a couple of book reviews. We did a couple of Booktube tags. Look for those. Those are pretty fun. And we also sent out the August rip list. Rip list is really late into the month. Here we are, it's the 19th, and I just put it out 4 or 5 days ago. So I do apologize for that coming out so late. We did not do a Bookish Texas event calendar as well, And so when I start doing my weekly reports, I'll start doing reminders. We'll do it at the end of the month for the whole month of September. And then when we do our weekly check-ins, we'll remind you what's going on for that week. So I've got some events coming up as we move forward with this video here. But the rip list for August is only 3 books because we started so late. Don't forget, we've got, you can look for that video because it's been released already. It's out there, but we've got The City of Ember by Jean DeProw. That's going to be on our list there. We've got one graphic novel, Anya's Ghost by Vera Brosco. And then we also have, which I'm really looking forward to, it's at the bottom, it's book 3 on our list, but it's a graphic novel, and I'm really excited about getting into this one. This one's going to be Over My Dead Body by Sweeney Boo. Just the book itself is pretty amazing. Now this book actually came in both hardback and paperback, and surprisingly so, even though I prefer hardback to paperback, I did pick up the paperback version for this read. It just felt better in the hands when I opened them up to review them. So looking forward to this read here, Over My Dead Body by Sweeney Boo. So that's the information that we put out last week. This coming week, we are going to be putting out another Booktube Tag video. We were tagged by the Big Book Buds. We are going to participate, and I should have that out before the close of business tomorrow. Tomorrow is Tuesday. It is Tag Tuesday. So before the close of business tomorrow, that Booktube Tag video will be on the channel for your viewing pleasure. So also, we're going to be releasing a video for the read-along program. So I found out that it might be a little bit more difficult when I'm making these announcements because of the way that I find my books. For those people who want to read along or read the book as I'm reading it, or at least before I get a chance to release the book review, it might be a little bit more difficult for individuals who have already just done their book hauls, for already just been to the library, for all those who don't have time to go to the library. I'm going to be releasing my book rip list early and making each quick short announcements when we're moving from one book to the next. But I also want to share with you on a quick, cost-effective way to be able to grab books on short notice. So that video will be coming out and should be out before the end of the week. So that video is coming up this week. And we also have 3 more book reviews coming out. So those book reviews are going to be from our July rip list. And that is Midnight Champagne by A. Manette Ansay. That's coming out next week. Only Pretty Damn by Neil Howell. I'm sorry for the hesitation and the pause there. I'm trying to make sure that I don't say anything off the wall. We just finished, this was one of our, it's either June or July reading list, our rip list from June or July, might have been July. But Only Pretty Damned by Neil Howell, that will be coming out. And we will be finishing, I haven't finished it yet, I apologize, London House by Catherine Ray. That's also going to be released within the next week. We're going to finish it. I'm more than halfway through the book. We'll have those 3 book reviews coming out. And also we'll be releasing actually a couple of them, probably a few. The Word Oddities videos. And you guys drop some comments into my comment section and let me know if we should group the word oddities individually so that they can be searched easier, or should we have those word oddities done by the book? So the last one we did, which was Murder at the Book Club, that was the other book review I was thinking about, Murder at the Book Club, that we released last week, had a total of 4 word oddities. So should I do a single video containing all 4 word oddities, or is it better to have those word oddities itemized in their own separate videos? Because if that's the case, then that would be a more preferable way for me to do it. I like to keep it singular, but you guys let me know what you think. I think that they were pretty cool. They don't last very long, 5 to 10 minute videos about my reading experiencing and stumbling on certain words that may or may not have been used properly. Word oddities. Let me know what you think. So yeah, I'm just kind of moving a little fast. I want to get straight into our weekly topic, but I don't want to rush the video. So, Bookish Texas, we did not have a single video. I did not put out an August Bookish calendar. Now these are mostly events, these are going to be events in the state of Texas, not necessarily in just my area of residence, but throughout the state of Texas. And these are usually going to be major book events. So we're going to start this week. It's the 19th to the 25th, right? Monday through Sunday. We're having, what's listed here, Sultry in the City. This event's going to be hosted in Austin on the 23rd, and the 24th. The 23rd and 24th, it starts on the 23rd. Sultry in the City. And then we have the Eastern Rim Funny Book and Vintage Con. It's a book con. Yes, I know people like those. But that's going to be in Baytown. That is August 24th and 25th. The Eastern Rim Funny Book and Vintage Con. That show would be in Baytown on the 24th and 25th. The Book and Paper Show is also this weekend coming up in Fort Worth. That's going to be the 24th and 25th. If you have any questions or requests about any of the events that I post, let me know, and I will be able to send you the more detailed information on these events. I do a calendar search over the internet for the entire state of Texas. There will be some that will be having, public library events, but these are mostly private events that are open to the public. And the last one that I have listed is actually a cancellation. I apologize if you guys were looking forward to this particular event, but the North Texas Book Festival has been indefinitely postponed, and it's due to reorganization. I don't know if it's the organization, the book club that actually is what reorganization, or if it's just a facility where it's being held. So the North Texas Book Festival has been canceled, has been postponed. They're still going to do it, but they're waiting on reorganization to be finalized. I don't know if it's going to affect any reconstruction with the facility where this event is being held, but I don't know if it's the organization or if it's the organization of the facility where this event is being held, or if they're one and the same. But the North Texas Book Festival has been postponed. Right? Okay, so with that in mind, I guess we can go straight into our topic for the week. And our topic for the week is reading hindrances. Right? Reading hindrances is our topic for this week. And yeah, I think this is going to be kind of interesting because this happens to a lot of people who read, right? And basically what it is I guess the first question, we have a few of them, and I'll read the questions and I'll just go back over them. But what drives your reading agenda, right? And then what prevents you from meeting your reading desires, right? Do you set reading goals like time restraints, book quantity limits, book purchasing limits? Do you ever feel overwhelmed when you don't meet your reading goals? And then lastly is, why do you read and who do you read for? No sponsors, nothing like that. Just an opportunity to be able to talk about something that might draw our same interest. So if you ever have questions or want a topic discussed on our weekly check-ins, then just send me a quick message through YouTube, and we'll add it to our list. Right. So let's get into it. Right. And it's going to be mostly from my own perspective. Right. It has to be, right? I have no other input from other readers. I've not discussed this with anybody to be able to have more content. So it's literally going to be just my perspective and my personal experience on reading, why I read, and what I read, right? So first of all, what drives your reading agenda, right? For me, I love to read. I am a huge daydreamer. I spend a lot of time at work, a lot of time just living life, just in my head a lot. And I have found that being able to discuss a lot of the imagery and share, my creativity, it sparks a lot of enthusiasm within myself. It sparks enthusiasm with the people I share this stuff with. And I get the same feeling from reading when somebody else is able to do the same thing for me. So when I am reading a book, there is a charge. It lights me up. It keeps my creative juices flowing. It keeps me, I may, be honest with you, I have an emotional roller coaster. I live on an emotional roller coaster. And a lot of times reading helps me be able to bring it back under control. Daydreaming brings it back under control. And even though I daydream as often as I do, it can be stumped at times. And sometimes the stumping isn't because I can't daydream, but I can't focus because I've got so many different things going on at the same time. I'm an overachiever. And a lot of times when I can't focus because I've got so many things that I'm overstimulated, reading focuses my direction in a specific way, into a specific direction, over a specific theme or a topic. The story itself might be, something I've experienced. It might not be something I've never experienced, but it will almost immediately, and sometimes make it difficult for me to continue into the story. But it will spark something with me that will get me daydreaming about whatever it is I'm dealing with. And it's helpful. It allows me to be able to imagine, daydream, and exceed at that one thing that's been bothering me. It allows me to focus in on life, even though the daydreaming part kind of takes me away from reality for a little bit. When I come back, I've got answers on how I want to attack whatever it is that's, how I want to deal with it, how I want to resolve whatever complication I'm faced with. And reading sparks my imagination. It sparks my creativity. And it just makes me feel good most of the times. A lot of times, reading really wants me to challenge myself to see how I can do it better. And that has led to me to being so successful in so many different areas of my life. And that's what reading does for me, right? So what drives me, first of all, what drives your reading agenda is the fact that I've got some downtime, and instead of daydreaming, which seems a little less focused at times or less progressive, a lot of times daydreaming for me doesn't accomplish anything except, kind of make me feel a little bit better, a little bit. But I'll get caught up in it. I'll get overwhelmed with it. But reading helps focus me a little bit. and it also drives me to want to achieve something. And daydreaming is one thing, it's stagnant, but wanting to achieve something causes me to want to create some initiative, wants me to create, action, and wants me to accomplish something. And a lot of times, small goals are the biggest ones, right? Small goals, being able to do something small, infinite, but get it accomplished, get it knocked out the way, and say, that's done. I can look at it, it's finished, it's sitting there, I'm proud of it. Yeah, okay, it wasn't really much. It was, a pair of shoes. I got a chance to clean a pair of shoes that I like, that have been sitting over there for a long time, but it's done. And that makes me feel good. So what drives my reading agenda? Having a lot of excessive time on my hands at times, wanting to focus myself, and enjoying the power of storytelling. Those are the things that drive me. So I will always read. I will always have something, or have a desire to read something. Right? That's what drives me. So what does it drive, basically? And this is not a question that's listed, but in order for me to go into the next question, what does it do? Wanting to read, what does it cause me to want to do? It wants me to read books. So I have to figure out how I'm going to do this. I have to create an agenda to some extent. Is it natural? Reading is a hobby for me. It's not an occupation. It's not something that's required of me. It's something that I have to do in spite of what's required of me. And so how do I go about it? It's not something that I want to remove from my life. I want to be able to continue reading. And when I say that, it normally pertains to reading for entertainment. That's the main reason why. I don't necessarily read for educational. I don't read for spiritual enlightenment. I read because it's entertaining. I read because it motivates me. So now that I know that, what do I want to read? When do I want to read it? And how often do I want to read it? I.e., my reading agenda. What drives my reading agenda? Having availability to read and being able to be in the physical condition to read. Because a lot of times I can't read when I'm tired. I start reading when I'm tired and I will fall asleep. I'm not going to get very far along the book. And how long do I read? The other night, I think I almost read 100 pages the other night in one sitting. And I was amazed because I don't normally read that many pages in a sitting. I've never sat down and read a book in one sitting. So knowing what drives my reading agenda, what is my reading agenda? I read as a hobby. I read because it's enjoying. So I read during my available time. And there are times when I have available time that I won't read. So keeping up with, I better finish 4 books this month, that will prevent me from being able to read one book within that month. It has to be something that I still want to do. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced, some people have said that if you do what you love as an occupational, right? If you do what you love for work, you'll never work a day in your life. I've tried that and I didn't like it because it became work. I love martial arts, so I opened up a martial arts school. I have a martial arts school, but when I was doing it myself and training when I had available time, that was one thing. But now I'm stuck to time limits. I've got to open up my school 3 days a week at least. I've got to be there at 4 o'clock every single day that I'm open. I got to stay there for this amount of time. And not only that, but I'm on a time limit on what I can cover. Once I start getting regulated, when I start having to regulate what I love and end up having to do that in order to be able to survive and bring in income, it became a task. I don't want reading to become a task. And so I want to make sure that when I read, I still enjoy reading, right? So creating a reading agenda that gives me these set time frames. For me, my reading agenda is, first of all, finding time to find something to read. I'm not one for purchasing a lot of books. I'm not one for, scouring the internet looking for something all the doggone time. I'm not one for electronic books so much. I don't mind them. I have a Kindle account. I've used it, but I prefer in hand books. So I gotta find time to get to the library. I gotta find time to visit these free libraries. I gotta find time to visit book sales so that I can get my hands on these books. And then I'd be, having to schedule when to read, or at least to identify when is the best time to read, right? When is the best time to read? So that all boils down to my lifestyle, the other hobbies that I have in my life, and my life restrictions. So lifestyle, not necessarily, it doesn't include work. It's not, it might, but that's a life restriction. I have to work. My lifestyle is, after that, what am I doing? Am I taking kids to the softball, or can I arrange for somebody else to drop them off? So lifestyle, life restrictions, and then, of course, anything else that would pop up, responsibilities and those things that, would interfere with being able to sit down and read. So once I've got my reading agenda squared away, what would prevent me from meeting my reading agenda, meeting my reading desires? And a lot of times it could be something as simple as not wanting to read. And how does that happen? By creating reading to be a chore. I don't ever want my reading to be a requirement, because that would destroy why I want to read. It would interfere with me being able to get any reading done, right? So for you, what would that be? What do you experience having troubles with being able to just simply figure out, I set up this agenda. Now, should I keep myself constrained, restricted to that agenda? Right? It leads you right into the next thing, right? Do you ever feel overwhelmed when you don't meet your reading agenda? Right? So do you set reading goals? Do you have time restraints? Do you have book quantity limits? Do you have purchasing limits? I've got purchasing limit. I'm not, for some reason, no matter how much I love books, almost every book I've acquired, and we'll get a chance to go through my library eventually, but when every book I've acquired, maybe a third of them I've actually purchased. Maybe a third. Maybe. It's less than a third if it's not a third. And I've got a few books. But I'm not big on spending money. That's one of the reasons why I don't do book hauls. And that might change. But having books that I may or may not read, I'm not much of a rereader. So a lot of the books that I do own are growth, maturity, spiritual enlightenment, those types of books that can or probably need to be reread. Right? So I don't do a whole lot of book purchases. But that's just me. Right? I've currently got some books that I want to purchase now. One of them being that Grimoire Noir tale. I'm telling you, if you have not seen the review, go through. It's on my page. It's on the channel. Go through, find that Grimoire Noir book review, and or just go get the book. That one's safe to say. That is a definitely 5-star book review. And I like the fact that I'm getting into reading these graphic novels. It's pretty cool. It's a genre that I don't normally get into, about themes that I don't normally get into. So big step for me. But yeah, do you set reading goals? I do not. I do not set reading goals. I do feel bad when I don't get a lot of reading in. That does affect me, and I say bad as in, I just wished I would have gotten more reading in. But I don't browbeat myself over it. I'm not really overwhelmed by the fact that I did not get that reading done. But not having accomplished certain levels, like when I put my rip list out. So it happened just recently. I've got books that we've set back in June. I believe I finished them all. I got to go back and look at that June rip list. I believe I finished them all. I couldn't tell you if I did or not. But when it came time for July, so London House is a July rip list, right? July. We're in our third or fourth week in August, and I haven't even started on the August rip list. The first one we have is City of Embers, and I'm not even going to be able to have a full rip list. Maybe 3 to 4 books with 1 to 2 graphic novels. So a total of 5 to 6 books a month. Then that's if I can get through the book in enough time. So I don't set, because if I did, and if I was basing my channel off of book review content, oh my gosh, it would be rough. Trying to keep up, that would be a task in itself. And we should be able to keep in step or up to date with what we're releasing. But there will be times where I will fall behind. Excuse me. There will be times where I will fall behind. And I don't want that to be so overwhelming that it affects me emotionally to where it, opens up a can of worms and causes me to run downhill. I'm going to open up more content for the video, my channel, but I want to make sure that I don't jeopardize the way I feel about reading. And that can very easily cause that, not being able to read those reading goals. So, no, I don't set reading goals. I'm hopeful, though. So I've got 3 books for the month of August. One of them seems kind of small. And I have not said this. I did not realize it. But and this is another reason why, too, because as I'm doing research, the way I find my books is pretty... it in itself, it's fun. I go to the library and I have this event with going to the library. So when I go to the library, I want to make sure I got at least 2 hours to be able to peruse through the listing there. I don't know what I'm going to find. I don't know what I'm going to get. But we just recently found the City of Embers. Now, this was actually from a free library, not the library itself, but from a free library. And the problem with this book, I just recently found out, is this book is the first book, fortunately, it's the first book in a 4-book series. I don't normally read series. I don't normally read some. I've read a couple. One of my favorites was Tim Severin, Viking. That was a good book. I didn't do it. It was included in a tag. The book reviews, I'm going to find those books. I think I have them. I own them. And I'll come back to them and I'll do the book review for that one. It's an awesome series. But I don't get involved in too many series. So I just recently found out. So if I set these goals and then I find out that I can't get my hands on book number 2 or book number 3, then I've got OCD issues. I'll have problems. And so I started this one. I researched it. I found out that it is part 1. And part 1, fortunately, in a 4-part story. We're going to get to those other 3 parts. I actually want to read the series. The book itself has gotten some really good reviews. So that's something else. I don't want to go in there and say, okay, rip list, we've got 3 books. I didn't have to read all 3 books or all 4 books on that same rip list. I like to try and create some variety. I want to be able to move to and from, move freely depending on what we find. The whole thing about the books that we find, the way that we find them, is all based on happenstance. And that's part of the exciting. I don't want to read the most recent book that's out and everybody's reading it and everybody's talking about it and it's a popular. Part of my channel is finding these gems. And in order to find gems, you've got to rubble through the garbage sometimes. Yeah, you got to go through the garbage sometimes. So, finding the book to read is part of the CGR reading experience. So no reading goals. But yes. All right. So, do you ever feel overwhelmed when you don't meet your reading goals? I have a tendency to. I get upset because, like I said, I'm on book number 3 from July's rip list, and it's August, so that is kind of bothersome. I don't know if I'm overwhelmed, but there have been times where I've been feeling pressured. So like last night, I had an opportunity to read. I didn't read a single page. I didn't go for the book, and I don't know. Maybe it's just because I was kind of out of it. I was staring off into space a lot of times. And tonight, I'm probably going to read it tonight. But when I'm home with free time, I usually spend a lot of time staring at TV, watching episodes of Law and Order that I've already seen a few times. CSI New York, I've already seen several of them. And a lot of times, I will find myself sitting there watching something I've already watched. The other night, I went to go read, and preseason for football was up. And I was like, yeah, preseason. It's preseason, right? What do you want to get all excited about preseason for? I had a choice, read my book or watch the preseason game. Well, I watched the preseason game instead. So there's all kinds of different reasons why I don't like setting up reading goals and how it makes me feel when I don't meet the proposal. I come out here and tell you, oh, we got a reading list and we're in book 2 and and you guys are waiting for it. I don't know. There's going to be a time where you guys are going to join in and you're going to read along with me and you'll be ready to move on to the next book. You'll be ready to review or watch discuss it. I get enough readers. One of the contents that we're going to be bringing to is a live book review for our reading group, right? Those read along. I don't want to call it a book club. It's going to be a reading group. So that's going to be one of the new contents coming to the page. And just remember, why do you read and who do you read for? The last 2 points on today's topic. I covered why I read. And I read for myself. I don't read for content. I don't read to have something. I'm just glad I found Booktube community because it gives me an opportunity to share what I've read. I don't have a lot of folks that I can sit down and discuss books with. And it's kind of funny because I never really took time to discuss my daydreaming either, which might be a thing. We're gonna some more new content coming. I'm a writer. I write, and I've posted a couple of my short stories. We're gonna start sharing those stories here through this channel as well. So that's gonna be something coming up too. So who do I read for? I read for myself. But it's great to share. So I don't read for payment. I don't read for content, no income in any shape, form, or fashion. I read because it's great. I read because I think I can do it better. Writing. I read people's writings because it gives me ideas for my own writing. Oh, I like the way they wrote that. Yeah. Anyway, I want to thank you for joining us today. That's our topic for this week, reading hindrances. Why do you read and who do you read for? Reading hindrances. That's today's topic. So with each week, I would like to be able to share with you a channel with either a new Booktube channel or somebody that's bringing up and building their subscribers list, and somebody that you might have missed. I love the community aspect, and I love being able to talk and share and interact with other booktubers and users here on this platform. So, with that in mind, Jess over at Bougie Nerd is our reference for this week. She is a wonderful soul, right? Wonderful soul. She has a great heart. She is got some new material up. She puts up material fairly regularly. So you want to go? I had somebody else that I wanted to refer. He's been away for at least a month. I'm not really sure. So hopefully he'll be back, and I'll be able to refer him on another weekly check-in. But this check-in is going to be Jess. Go on over to Bougie Nerd and be able to take some time out and watch her videos. I'm sure she'll love. Romance is her main book theme, her genre there, but wonderful individual. She will interact with you. Comment on her page, talk to her. She will interact with you, and that's going to be our show for this week. So with everything considering, I hope that you guys have had a wonderful weekend, and I hope that this week is off to a great start. You guys stand by. We've got some wonderful content coming, and we'll see you again on the next video. Until then, keep reading.